Hey, Natsu here. Today I'm going to do part 8 of What If Deku had Venom's powers. In the last part, I ended it with Deku and Bakugo basically bonding together and basically pummeling All Might in 5 movements, jumping in front of him, giving one punch, jumping over him, giving a second punch, and then just leaving. So yeah. After that, the mall, which nothing really happens because, well, Shigaraki is scared of Deku. And I ended it there because I want to add the movie into this. So, for the movie, All Might can stay in his buff form 24/7 now and lose minimal of One for All, as well as being a bit more powerful, but that's it. Um, he asked, well, basically, he got in this one the permission to only bring one person, just like in the original. And in contrast to basically what you would think, where he would actually take the new user of One for All, he basically asked both of them who they would think is better for this. And in the end, even Mina basically said that Deku would be the best because, well, it's basically all sciencey stuff and he's kind of the one into that. So he's bringing Deku. Mina will be there anyway because, like we know, um, Shoto and Momo basically got per multiple passes to go there, so they would be able to bring the entire class. So everyone's still there. So All Might basically same thing happens at this at the start. Um, After that, they go meet Melissa, which basically this time is a bit, well, Deku has a lot less, well, he's a lot braver, so he doesn't, he's not shy, actually, that's what I mean. So, when she asks who he is, All Might explains that he is a friend of his, actually a student, and actually probably the best of them. He is the most intelligent and powerful, which she is intrigued by this. Like, really intrigued. So they basically start talking, then they go meet Melissa's father. I always forget his name, and once again, I never write those names. Mostly because this, I basically decided to do this, well, 3 days ago. So I had to write this entire part. I didn't write his name simply because. But yeah, so basically, um, Deku met him, then left with Melissa. Um, while All Might and his old friend basically met up, he asked to look at All Might's wound and his quirk, and All Might said, "You're going to be surprised by this, but my injury is healed." Which, okay, yeah, sorry, I have to go for a sec. Be right back. Okay, yeah, so, David. I really was bothered by not remembering his name. So, David basically takes a look at All Might, and first he sees that All Might's wound is completely gone. And his quirk seemed to have slowed down the loss of it. Actually, it seemed to have become kind of in a line, still dropping a bit, but a lot less drastic. After a while, he asked All Might how that happened. He found someone who was able to actually do something like that, which he then said this this young boy, Midoriya Izuku Midoriya, his quirk is unique. He has the power to actually um, bond with people and help them heal, as well as making them more powerful. While someone is bonded with him, he has the full access to the power of everyone who he has fused with previously to that one. He has immense power, and he actually is the one who helped me. Which David then starts to basically um, act differently, because if there's a kid like that, he can just become All Might's sidekick, and that's all going to be okay. His quirk is basically saved by then already, because that means he fused with All Might, which means he has All Might's quirk, which he does, but not from All Might. So basically, just after All Might and him separates, he basically called off the attack, which means that he doesn't think that it's going to happen anymore. Even though we know they are real villains, so they kind of didn't go away. So Shield won't even be in the tower, well, where he needs to be to actually make it happen at first. So for the rest of the time, basically, what happened was that Melissa was just talking with Izuku. He explained to her his quirk, then explained that there's a girl in his class that has a quirk that's called Acid, and also another quirk that basically looks like All Might's quirk, but she has trouble with it unless they're bonded together, which when they do that, thanks to his regeneration, she is basically immune to the damage, and even if there's damage, he basically heals her instantly. Which Melissa basically hears that and decides to go grab the special gauntlet she had made, and said that the next time he sees her, to give her that. Which Melissa basically explains what it is, what it's made for, and why she made it. And then she tells Deku that his quirk is extremely powerful, since he explained it to her, and that no matter who he is close to him, the moment he actually decides to bond with them, he becomes both of them become way more powerful than anything. He is the perfect equipment, basically. No matter what happens, he is physically, mentally, and, well, theoretically, the most powerful being right now. Because for her, there's the kid that can gain power just by fusing with others, and then increase those powers, and then bond with someone else, and increase it by 10. Well, he gains just a part of them at first, that is divided by 10, then he can increase it, then he can multiply it by 10 when he fuses with someone, and that means that no matter who he bonds with, no matter what happens, he has full access to the power of everyone he mixed with before. And if the person he mixed with afterward is powerful, that basically makes something that nothing can even catch up to. She's basically talking about All Might saying that, and basically she just says that she really wants to be someone that helps heroes since she cannot be one because she has no quirks. And that basically, if she had one, she would try and be one. Which Izuku then looks at her and says, "Do you want to know how it feels to have one?" Which she basically thinks for a second and then just realizes what he means. And basically, right now they're walking outside of the lab, actually going to where there is the test that Bakugo basically demolished as after that Shoto. So basically, well, he asked her that when they're basically at that place. Basically, everyone just reacts saying, "Oh, hey, Deku," and basically, Parasite. Then she basically says that everyone kind of doesn't know what she means yet. And then he just asks her if she wants to know what it feels like and try the test, which everyone basically tells her, "Oh man, you have to try this. It is awesome. You feel like the most powerful thing alive when he bonds with you. It's as if you don't just become one person. It's as if you're one with everyone he mixed with before." So she accepts. And basically, they don't just break the record that Shoto made. They basically, well, it's a mountain with robots on it. They basically just eradicated the entire place at that point with the power. Basically, he went and basically told her that she had full access to it, and basically explained to her, showed her the memories to basically explain how to use each of the powers he has, and that are now at her disposition. Which means that she basically went a bit overboard because she didn't try to hold back, and she basically destroyed the entire mountain that had the robots on it in less than a second. Basically, everyone was basically just amazed by this. And Bakugo was just kind of reacting in a way that he never saw someone use that much power with Deku before. Like, he knows she went overboard. She didn't hold back at all. And she actually pushed it beyond the limit, which Deku can do, thanks to his regeneration. They basically came down and, the presenter basically told them that it was probably a bit too much, which they kind of said sorry. Deku unbonded with Melissa, which they then saw her and kind of realized that, whoa, okay, that was. What? Basically, they didn't know how to respond to that. Like, they thought one kid was doing that, but no, it was two. And at first, they really didn't know how to think about one single kid doing it. But now that they see two, they think, okay, one must have some type of fusion quirk. Then they see Melissa, who doesn't have a quirk or that much strength. And they basically start thinking again. The only one that aren't thinking, asking themselves how the hell does it work, are Class 1A. For good reasons. They basically say sorry, they say it's okay, that they're going to have to remake the entire place, but it's fine. Then they leave. Oh yeah, also, Melissa has about a 70%, how do I say it again? Not connection, compatibility with Izuku. So they have pretty good boost as well. And the reason I say that they were able to destroy the entire mountain that we saw in the place was because she charged one for all, not knowing, well, knowing how to stop charging it or increasing it, but just kind of thought, okay, yeah, it's just going to stop by itself, which it doesn't. Deku can basically charge it fully for a huge amount of time, or just a huge amount of power, and then unleash it. And she basically went at around 2000%, which he's bonded with someone, so it's the same strength as All Might, actually quite, in fact, a bit stronger than All Might when it's at 100%, simply because of training. Basically at 100% compared to All Might's 100%, it's like 104, I would say, so quite a bit stronger. But yeah, they pretty much know how, well, they pretty much are able to destroy practically anything, thanks to the huge amounts of power Deku has, because remember, every quirk he has in him are also boosted. Which means that, Bakugo's quirk is pretty freaking powerful in, in this what if. Now add Deku's training with it, one for all, and an uncontrollable amount of one for all power placed in the arm before launching it. Those together basically made it way too powerful. Like the entire place kind of felt it, which All Might basically just kind of realized that, oh god, did someone do something? Basically, it was told to everyone on the island that it was nothing, it was just someone testing their quirk, and they went overboard with it, but nothing is damaged. Which, after hearing that, All Might basically said, well, no, actually, they said two kids tried their quirk together, which All Might basically said, oh, that's Izuku. Then, David asked, they said two kids, right? Which All Might didn't know, not knowing that other students were there, he basically said, he was with Melissa, right? He probably asked her how, if she wanted to know how her quirk felt like, which Shield basically said, wait, what? Which All Might basically said, remember, he can mix with people, and for the time they're bonded together, both of them have the quirk, well, all access to every quirk that are in Izuku's arsenal, so as well as having a strength increase by 10 times, so it's pretty freaking powerful when you can think about it. Hell, a kid would be able to bond with Deku, and even if he has zero compatibility, if both of them want to do something, pretty much they would be able to destroy the world without anyone really being able to stop them. So yeah. After that, they go meet with everyone else that ask what the hell happened, which Bakugo basically just said they went over, Deku and this girl just bonded together, and she kind of went overboard with the quirks, which Mina basically said, oh, so that's what it was. Then looked at Deku and asked him multiple questions, since they are kind of going out together. Kind of. Well, both of them love each other, and which is really freaking funny. Like, the two most alien-looking people there basically go out together. So, Mina still gets that, okay, yeah, it's, well, it was basically because she's quirkless, and that he wanted to let her see how, well, quirk feels like. Mostly that much power. So, They got that. Then he told her, "Oh yeah, also," and basically showed the bracelet. Which after that, um, well, Mina basically just asked how it works. Melissa basically arrived. Well, was just next to them, so she basically placed it on, pressed on the button, and it kind of opened. And basically said that All Might is able to give punches with that, and it could probably hold 3 times his 100%, which everyone basically asked, what? And then she just says by herself that All Might and her dad were partners a long time ago, so she knows him, which everyone is really impressed by that at first. Until, well, not at first, but for a while. Until later, and they go to the party. Where, for David, he basically thinks that the party is just going to be a normal party. Until the villains attack. The students still had the same thing with with everyone waiting. As well as something I learned. If Venom wants to, he can actually jump into a computer and connected to internet and basically move, not even connected to internet, connected to anything actually, as long as it has power or connected to a source of power. Venom could actually just go straight through everything and meet up in another place in the world that is connected by the same electricity and basically come out the other side, even with someone bonded with him. So he can actually go in machines. So this place is basically just like, okay, is there an access panel? And Deku's gone. The villains don't even have time to get to the freaking top. Deku's already there. And just like that, no, actually, there are some villains already there. He basically arrives where it's the control center. He basically knocks them out, then deactivates every security measure of the island. All Might basically punches his way through, meets the other students. Then, before Deku basically goes to the top because he's trying to find where David is, he basically finds that they're at the top. Then basically says on speaker that David and the villain chief are at the top of the tower, which All Might basically jumps outside and basically tries to get there, with Deku basically entering back into the machines and trying to get there all the way up. They basically arrive around the same time, with the guy basically having the machine to boost the quirks already in hand. David basically says that it was actually something that he tried to make to help All Might, then he wanted to steal it, then he said abort the mission, because, thanks to Deku, but that they are actually true villains, and that it's a problem. So, David gets shot, the villain tries to escape, Melissa's not there in that moment. All Might is already there, so he's able to try and stop him, but the guy basically puts on the thing and basically just pushes All Might away. The guy basically says that All for One says his regards, looks at Deku and said, "You're actually on his list. He wants your quirk, so you are not to be killed. But he never said I couldn't roughhouse you." Deku basically bonds with David because it's the closest person around, and basically tries to get to All Might, which All Might is fine, kind of. and basically tells Deku that they have to stop him. David basically asks what the hell is happening, which Deku basically says that he's going to go drop him off down onto the ground and then go grab Bakugo, because with him he's basically going to be able to fight on a level stronger than All Might, which David then says no, bond with All Might. He's going to be the best bet for this battle, which is true. But the problem is that All Might doesn't really care about that, while Shields only think of Deku right now as, well, a support item that would help All Might fight longer. Because he knows Deku's just a kid, but he's only thinking of him as an ex-partner to help All Might, or literally an item to help him. When in reality, All Might doesn't really care about that. To be honest, the kid is just, well, for him, a really great student that actually helped him. And now he needs to help this kid and everyone else. So he tells Deku to go drop down a shield, well, David, on the ground, and to grab any of the student that would be able to help him, no matter who it is. So Deku drops down, basically using his wings he gets to the ground. They see him land, they get to him. Yeah, sorry, I had to pause. So Deku drops down, everyone see him, he drops down a shield out of, well, him, and then basically grabs the nearest students, literally, which actually ends up being Shoto. So, different person that he wanted to. Bakugo said, "Why aren't you bonding with me?" Which Deku just said, "No time," and basically just flew up. Until basically the entire tower started shaping differently, because Evelyn started taking control of it. Mina basically activated the bracelet and just kind of jumped up, following Deku and Shoto. Shoto not even resisting because, yeah, Deku's a good guy. Deku basically did the same thing as he did with Melissa, basically gifting him all of the memory on how to control the powers, and every people that they come from. He doesn't show All Might, basically. That's the only one that he doesn't show. So basically, Mina's basically getting to, well, all the way up. All Might basically sees Mina, then Deku, looking pretty differently. All Might asking who did he pick, and then Shoto basically saying me. So basically they have 3 users of One For All. One of them who actually has so many more quirks that he's basically overpowering any one of them. And they basically all just go, and it's kind of the same scene as in the anime, well, the movie, but with multiple differences. Firstly, instead of Deku just punching and kicking, it's more of a Deku that actually, well, kind of just runs, does explosions, fly, does punches, makes fire and ice that is extremely freaking powerful. Mina basically just running, kicking, punching, and stuff like that, like All Might does. All Might just doing, well, All Might. Until the last cube, which is a lot tougher than in the movie, because, well, the guy had more quirks than in the anime, the movie. Simply because, well, all for one, just for if something happened. gave him more powerful quirks this time. Actually, he gave him one more quirk only, but it's basically the capacity to increase the weight in, well, the density of metals. Instead of only controlling them and shaping them, he also has the capacity to augment the density. So, pretty much, they were made to basically crush them. Then All Might went one for all, 100%. Mina went 100%. And then, um, what should we call him? This is a new fusion, right? Hmm. Um, you know what? Tell me the name in the comment section that you want for this fusion. Shoto and Parasite, both together to make one. What is his name? Okay, so let's go back. So yeah, and then for Shoto and Deku basically said, "Don't hold back. Go further. We go as far as possible." Shoto basically just thinking, "No holding back." And then both of them basically mind linked. Shoto heard Deku say 100, 1000, 10,000, 100,000, 1,000,000%. Basically, the entire form was buffing up. Shoto was being hurt, but completely healed at the same time, making him feel weird all around, but really powerful. And then the punch. Basically, All Might and Mina were the two first to punch. The thing was starting to kind of push them back. Everyone was starting to think that it was going to lose. And then Izuku arrived. Well, the fusion arrived and basically gave the last punch on it. And with all three, it basically started cracking up. It blew up. The guy was freaked out, and suddenly he gets punched. The machine on his head that basically boosts quirk is completely destroyed by this. The creation is destroyed. Shield doesn't have a blood wound this time since he was healed by Deku. Shoto is fully fine, he just feels weird, simply because of all the power and energy he used. Mina broke the wrist thing, which she said sorry to Melissa, but Melissa was okay with it, since, yeah, it has to be improved. That's basically what it means. And Shield was basically saying sorry. This time, the only difference is that they didn't take him to the police because, well, they actually attacked without his consent. Actually, for him, he didn't even know they would attack this time. So they basically didn't take him for, well, causing the thing. So that's the only difference for that last part. And basically, at the end, they go back and they're about to leave for the forest training arc. Hope you liked it. This was basically. Oh crap. Okay, yeah, a lot longer than what I thought it would be. At the same time, I add some things while talking. So, hope you liked it. Leave a like if you did. If you have any questions or things to say, or for the name of the new, Shoto and Deku fusion, leave it in the comment section. I'm going to leave a link to my Discord in the description. Come join us if you want to, or just join us even if you don't. To be honest, the more the merrier. You're going to be able to talk to me and other people practically, well, 24/7. Sometimes we sleep, but that's only because we're human. But yeah, so hope you liked it. Not to. Out.